How do you lose weight the right way? And when I talk about losing weight, already messing up. This is going to be beautiful. When I talk about losing weight the right way, I mean losing fat. I mean getting leaner. How do you do that the right way? Well, I'm going to share with you some little tips that I follow, that I share with people that I work with, so you don't shoot yourself in the foot in the long run. And we'll talk about that first, because that's what a lot of people do with all these crazy fad diets that get people quick results in the short term, but in the long term, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. I'm talking about things like keto, intermittent fasting. Can be. Intermittent fasting isn't actually too bad if done right. Not too bad, although it's not really fasting, it's just not eating between dinner and breakfast. It's all really intermittent fasting is. But in our day and time, in our society, I guess that does qualify as fasting because there's so much food everywhere and we're so used to eating whatever we want. But the number one thing not to do, and this is probably what I see too many people worrying about, is it's the same with so many things in fitness and health and strength and people just trying to make themselves physically better. They go way too much, way too soon. I can't tell you how many times I see people trying out some diet that's meant for a fitness competitor who's trying to go from 8% to 6% body fat, and you're sitting there trying to go from 25% to 20% body fat. Okay? Going from 25 to 20% body fat is pretty simple. It's not that hard. It may be challenging for where you're at, but trust me, the last thing you want to do to try to go from 25 to 20% body fat, or say 35 to 30% body fat, or anywhere up in like the mid-low double digits, like 20 to 40% body fat. I think that's where a lot of people are, especially in America. If you're there, you don't go do a dietary program that's meant for someone who's a professional or serious amateur fitness competitor. Okay, that's going to drive you up a wall. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot so fast that it's just not going to end good for you. Okay, so don't do that. Here's what you got to do. You got to figure out your macros, and this is something that anybody who's worth their salt in fitness, a trainer, a coach, whatever, will tell you. This is what works for the strongest, leanest people on the planet, people. This is the big secret. It's macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs. So you start with just getting more protein, because most people aren't eating enough protein. I'm not going to go into real specifics here, but you want to get more protein, more meat, chicken, eggs, fish. You can use protein powder, plant protein, whatever it is you want to do. That's what you do. That's what you concentrate on. And the reason you concentrate on more protein with more water, more hydration, is that's going to satisfy your hunger cravings. What gets a lot of people messed up with their hunger cravings is that they're eating that salty, fatty, simple carbohydrates. So it's like sugar, salt, and fat. That stuff does not satisfy your hunger, and it's very calorically dense, and the nutritional value is very, very low. So what a higher protein diet does is it satisfies the hunger much better. We call it satiation. That's the fancy word for satisfying your hunger. And the better you can satisfy your hunger with a higher protein diet and more water, specifically more water, not just Coke, Pepsi, and beer or whatever. Okay, you want to drink more water. I don't like water. Okay, grow up a little bit and just drink more water. You're going to be fine. It's not that hard. Add a little flavor to it if you want. I don't care. When you do that, you're going to feel less hunger, and you're going to have less hunger urges to eat the junk carbs, fatty, salty, sugary carbs that completely ruin you. When you're just starting out, that's all you really need to worry about. Okay? And you want to eat more whole foods, of course. More whole foods. So more fruits and vegetables, more good whole grains, oatmeal, rice, whatever. But the big thing is, people, just get more protein and more water. And you need to strength train. I cannot stress that enough. I'm going to be putting together some real simple workouts for beginners, about 10 minutes. And once again, it's the same principle applies. You don't start off on a program that's meant for a professional athlete. You start on a program that's going to be challenging for you. For most people who are beginners, who have very little experience working out and with fitness, 10 minutes a day can be plenty challenging. And all you need to do is focus on being consistent. If you can do 10 minutes a day for 1 month straight, you're going to be in great shape for making long-term progress and changing your life and having long-term strength and health. Just stick with some body weight exercises. You got squats, you got push-ups, do a little stretching. Find a 10-minute yoga routine, like a beginner power yoga routine on YouTube or something, and just go through that for 10 minutes. Do the best you can. Turn it on, follow along with the program. When you need a break, take a little break, get a breather, and just keep the video going, and then just go back and then just start back in once you get a little bit of rest, get your breath back or whatever, and just go back into where the video's at. I hope that made sense. I'm not sure it made much sense to what I was saying, but I'm flying off the hip here. This is how I do these videos, and hopefully I'll get better at them as I go. But those are the basic tips, okay? If you can do both those things consistently, more protein, or three things, more protein, more water, that's going to cut down on your overall calories. It's going to give you better nutrition in general, and do a 10-minute strength training routine every day. But what about cardio? The strength training, if you do it right, will be cardio. And I will go into this in a later video because I'm coming up on my 7-minute mark, about to cut this off. Try to keep these videos right around 7 minutes. But strength training can be cardio. You just have to do it at a certain pace. What you do is you keep it to the point where it's challenging to breathe or challenging to talk, or you're kind of, you're sucking wind, you're breathing heavy. It's very, very challenging, if not extremely difficult to talk. Once you reach the point where it's difficult, very difficult to talk, you back off, take a little break until you can breathe easier again. You can start talking easier again, and then you go into it. So there you can get both strength and cardiovascular benefits in one. I hope this is clear enough for people to at least have an idea of how to get started properly with losing weight and getting stronger, getting healthier in the long term for the rest of your life. But I'm going to cut it right there, everybody. We will talk later.